Hi guys, and welcome to monthly Lenormand reading. I'm just going to tell you quickly a little bit about Lenormand, just a minute. So Lenormand refers to two types of oracle decks, the Grand Jeu and Petit Jeu. The Grand Jeu, which is French for the big game, is based on a full deck of playing cards. So each card has a large variety of symbols, such as sometimes constellation, flowers, and Trojan War. But sometimes, like maybe you're familiar with my cards, where you have the lady holding a letter, where you have the rider, snake, and so on and so forth. The Petit Jeu Lenormand, French for the little game, is a deck of 36 cards. So cards images here are simple. As I said, a clover, a bear, a key, etc. Right? This is a simplicity in this deck that really leads to cards not being read based on the picture nor the symbol, where in tarot every line actually has a meaning, and depending on combination, kind of like they end up having different meanings. Instead here, the meanings tied to the cards are fairly literal, such as luck for the clover and success for the key. Unlike the philosophical meanings, where you have the keys sort of like entry to the gateway to the spirituality, right? In this respect, Petit Jeu cards remind me of pictorial language, almost like Egyptian hieroglyphs, right? But keep in mind that both the Grand Jeu and Petit Jeu are like in that they use card combinations to expand on the meanings on the individual cards. So you see, each card has a meaning, but 1 + 1 doesn't make 2. 1 + 1 makes it like 5, and 1 + 1 + 1 makes it 15, and so on and so forth. When you put all 36 cards on the table, it is sort of like giving almost like overview on how the situation can be seen, and it can actually really give you different aspects and what is like behind you, what is aside from you, etc, etc. 36 cards, as I told you, has like so many different possibilities and meanings, and it really requires a skilled reader to do that. So anyway, I think we are going to attempt to do exactly that. So why don't you get ready, sit down, take your popcorn, and let's get into your reading. Love you. Hi Virgo, welcome to your February reading. So let's see where it takes us. So in Lenormand we have a few cards that they're just straight out significators, like the lady and like the gentleman, and either of them can be you. One can be you, one can be the partner, and vice versa. We also have the fox and the snake being right here next to the lady, the fox right next to the snake. So let's see what is going on over here, guys. So the lady is in the center of the reading. So some of you will or are going through processing some kind of information. There is like some kind of longing, and some of you may have put a relationship to an end. Kind of like you just release somebody, off you go, back to the fish pond. It is like really not easy task of doing it, but you're kind of like doing this for the best. It looks like you have been with someone who has been giving you heartache. The birds can signify gossip. That could have been somebody else who have been spreading rumors about you. So even if the snake is not the third party, and 1 2 3 4 5, it's in the child's house over here. So it could be somebody who's younger than you. It could be something or some issue that has been going on for quite a while. It could be the issue that like a snake in the house, or just like really on the other side of the birds. There was lots of discussion over some issue or over some person, and looks in the past that you had commitment with somebody, or you wanted to kind of like go further with a person. The lilies, it shows that the person that maybe you're asking about or inquiring, for those of you who kind of like have that situation, it was the situation where you had on and off relationship, and maybe you had a breakup previously and then reunited with sort of like this glorified feeling that you're going to really go forward and things will kind of like move on and things will shine. But instead, kind of like you have reached the conclusion that maybe something is not working out based on more or less gut feeling that you have. There is like not much here that I see as like kind of like really that you can grasp, but your intuition, guys, will prove to be right on, because this is what you're dealing. The book, it's closed. We don't know what is in the book. We have to open it to really read it. So hence, you are maybe even opening yourself to the other people. You're maybe able to kind of like reach out. I definitely see that you are really wondering if you made the right decision. If you're single, then you might be dealing with a whole bunch of let's say competition. Be very careful with who your friends are, because it could be that people say to you one thing in your face and completely different thing behind your back. So be very, very careful about that, and be cautious with written communication, because it seems to me that whatever you put in writing, whether email, text, this is generally, actually it can be a letter as well technically, but I don't know like who actually really sends letter these days, right? That's going to be seen, that's going to be read. So it is kind of like funny, because it looks like you might put certain things in writing. Maybe it is simply that you kind of like want to put the end of something, because look at this, the snake is going to the cross and snake is right next to the fox. So guess what? Somebody who may be messed up with your relationship is going to be messed up with. So how is this about poetic justice? That cannot be kind of like better, kind of like doing nothing. This is kind of like a good story of karma, right? You do nothing, like, because so many times we kind of like either are hurt and we have this like knee-jerk reaction, and then we actually catch our own karma as a result of that. Here it looks like you're like sort of in a situation where you were dazzled with everything was going on. It was like kind of like, I don't know how to continue from this point on, and more or less everything seemed to be in the sphere of the heart, in the sphere of the emotions. Maybe you need to write things out for you to help you just get it out of your system. And there is definitely something. The snake can also be, of course, mother-in-law, right? So I hope she's not listening, right? But you know what I mean, right? She's not a Virgo, so I'm pretty sure she's not going to listen to this one. So she's a Capricorn. So anyway, the thing is here, the cross and the key coming over here is like showing that somebody who toyed with your relationship is going to get exactly the same kind of like result over here. Now, you guys who persist, who kind of like are staying strong, who kind of like come out with this, because that seems to be a healing process. The sun will shine again, and guess what? The sun is in the house of the woman. Women in particular are going to really get some kind of like new boost. You guys are maybe not seeing this, especially those of you who might be going through breakup, because it seems to be recent, something as recent as last month, but last month was just a few days ago, so it could be just literally a few days ago. Things will sort of like start to really look up, but it looks like with somebody completely new, and somebody who actually is kind of like well off. The bear is like being mother bear, very protective, right? Kind of like mind you, the bear can also sometimes talks about reunion, but you're not going to reunite with somebody if they continue to poo-poo a whole bunch of things, if they continue to be unhealthy for you. Because look at this is kind of really interesting. You have the mice here in the house of the sun, which generally, right, it predicts really good things, because the woman is here, the house of the sun is right next to the heart, so something really karmic. But that karmic thing, because look at these two things coming over here, are also karmic on the other side, and saying, okay, so here are my crossroads, which you also having right here in the dead center. Look at this and this. So you're asking yourself, really, and you guys are better at that than anybody else. You have this tree card. The tree card is in the mice house, and the mice just is right underneath to boot. So you're saying to yourself, did something cost you? You know, that this little vermin, like, you know, when they get on the ship, vermin means the ship, what can go wrong? It looks like that maybe your life got derailed by some kind of vermin, human vermin. Somebody who maybe was just eating, coming to your place to eat, you know, like I call them Klingons as well. They simply kind of like think they're so freaking wonderful that all of a sudden they have to be supported emotionally, financially, cook for me, etc. And where it's kind of really easy, just off you go, off you go. Because the sky is in the house of the heart. If this partner resurfaces, which looks like he will, and he might resurface because of the money issues. So be very careful. Keep your wallet closed, because this can indicate a big drain. The tree indicates that you're literally going to ask yourself if this house is good to create me, for me, sunny personality. Is this person really makes you happy? Or it makes you happy for a second and it's followed with, like, I mean, 2 hours or 2 days of what if, or if he's with somebody else, if she, like, I mean, transparent, etc., etc. This decision is going to be made so clearly this month. And I think you guys moving on. The whole decision is going to be move on. Because some of you are moving on. Some of you are saying, it's not worth it to me. You guys will be really job oriented this month. You have the moon in the moon house, and it's also next to the heart, and it's next to the bear. So this is just, of course, the fly in the ointment, when somebody can just jump in and create issues for you and create a mess. You have to really, really work very hard to fight it, because remember, when you get in a situation where you feel like horrible thing, no, not horrible, let's not call it horrible, but sort of like, you know, when you see a mouse, you just get scared, it gets startled, like things are not really developing in the best direction. But think of that situation, if it appears, to compare to how you're going to feel in just a few days. You're going to feel so good. You're maybe going to write something down. You're simply going to just get something out of the system that is going to make you feel unbelievably good, that you are like sort of like resurfacing, that you're coming back from something that pulled you behind, from something that has been damaging. This also, mice, often signifies financial damage, and you are really repairing this. Maybe you're putting extra hours at work, you are maybe getting a second kind of like a job or a side job, sort of like a thing, but you're definitely honestly putting your head back on and saying, oh my gosh, I was so sidetracked. Because look at this, between these two significators, you are meeting in a few cards. You're meeting in the letter, well, you're meeting in a whole bunch of cards if you really think about it. You're meeting in the birds, you are meeting in the snake, you are meeting in the key, the letter, the crossroads, the tree. So look at the bulk of this, what it says. It says, hey, who the heck was the snake? Tell me, I want to know. Maybe some of you are going to demand it, get text in writing. I want to know. And you already know the answer. You know what the lawyers, kind of like they're being trained, don't ask the question that you don't know the answer for, because the question is not to find out the truth, because of course they're not going to tell you. It is to figure out how this person is going to basically react, and based on this reaction there will be the crossroads being in the house of the crossroads. So check this out, these two cards are so strong over here, and the whole thing is having a flavor of something from the past, something that has been really, really important. But also in the past, your work has been very important for you, which kind of seemed to be kind of like dropped off, like here and there, and you kind of like found yourself in a weird situation. You guys are going to like remove the fog. That's going to be the end of it. Almost like looks like you were tapping in the dark for quite a while, and it is time to move forward. In the end, I think you're going to decide to cut the things that are not productive. The sky in the house of the heart, and the heart in the house of karma, is a very strong message to me that this was a karmic relationship that couldn't kind of like proceed further, that this is a time to move on. And it is the time to move on. You will know by yourself if maybe after the breakup you're sunnier a person, you're feeling that you're accomplishing more, you're feeling more confidence, more self-worth, less exposed to gossip, arguments, sort of like there is like a sense of equilibrium. And lastly, guys, very, very important, your work is going to really, really pick up. You're going to kind of like revisit your love for something that you really, really wanted, and you're going to really focus on that this month. So I didn't pull the card here. I just want to do that. This is my Russian deck that I bought for tarot. It's tarot Lenormand kind of combination, but it doesn't really work for tarot. So I'm using it here, and I'm trying to figure out what this means. Okay, so this is King of Cups, Kubkov, and Korol. I guess that's a king, and that's a Queen of Wands. So this is a couple that is much different in flavor. One is a mover and shaker, another one is sort of a silent kind of a thing. Since I'm reading this as after, I didn't kind of like pull it before, this is definitely telling me the direction you're going. If this is being cut off, you'll actually end up being in a really good relationship, because karmic relationships never end well. Karmic relationships are put us back on the train where we're supposed to travel. Rome might be a really wonderful place to be in, but we were supposed to go in Paris, and so we are basically derailed with this person. This person pushed us right back. For you, looks like your work was very important, but to boot, you're going to actually meet somebody who could be fire sign, or who could be a water sign. So it could be like a really interesting combination, because one person is expressing love with action, another person is expressing love with care. So this is something that you have something to look forward to. So my dear Virgo, enjoy it. So who is the snake and who is the fox? I would love to hear it. And for your private reading, just ask for Lenormand. This kind of like gives you a different overview, and you can check me on my website, cattarot.ca. Love you guys.